Welcome back to Improv with Dave. Today we are focusing on base reality. This is the world you create that grounds or provides context for the comedy of your scene. In other words, this is what is real about your made-up world. All right, so before we can get to all the fun comedic stuff that happens in an improv scene, we need to start by building the part that we all agree on. This is the world that we all live in. We need to build that world block by block with agreement. We are starting with nothing, just a dirt ground, maybe a hole in the ground. So let's agree to build something. And we build things by using the phrase yes and. You've heard it probably used in other spaces. Here in improv, yes and means I accept your block of information and here is my additional block of information. For example, my hair is on fire. Oh no, let me get a hose. Yes, your hair is on fire is the oh no, I'm accepting that information. I'm agreeing to that information. And let me get a hose is adding new information. Now the scene has progressed. We now know two things. We know that the hair is on fire and we know that the next action or the next piece of information is that someone is getting a hose. The other character is getting a hose. You want to avoid either repeating the same information or denying or rejecting or blocking information. So if the first person said, my hair is on fire, and the other person said, no, it ain't, that is rejecting and blocking. Because now we don't know who's real and what's real in this world. We don't just want to repeat it. My hair is on fire. Oh yeah, your hair is on fire. You did say yes, but you didn't really add an and. We take your block and we put our block on top of it. So you can try this exercise at any point. You can stop the video right here, or you can do this later on. But I want you to listen to a conversation that's happening in real life. And if you're not around any conversations because you're quarantined, just look at a set of text messages from a really good conversation you've had in the past. See if you can recognize when someone offers a detail or a piece of information and when you or the other person accepts that information and adds more information. Girl, I seen so-and-so doing this. What? He's doing this? I always knew he was doing this. A simpler example is, I'm here for the party, says person one. And then person two says, welcome, the kids are out back. Welcome, yes. I agree that you've come to this party. New information, the kids are out back. So continuing with the theme of agreement, we want to also agree on where we are, what is happening, who is doing what's happening. Any person in this scene can give the information. So you could label me as Jim and I could label you as John. I could say this mall bathroom sure is dark. Or you could say traffic is pretty light today. But either person can add to those things. And so we're agreeing. We're saying yes and to this information. We're yes and to build the world. Is something we're going to do throughout this whole section of base reality. The core parts of your base reality are where is it happening, what is happening, and who is doing what's happening. So if you are able to establish that you're in the kitchen cooking dinner with mom and a son, that's enough to ground the audience's understanding into your world. These things are real in the world. Now, and if anything crazy or unusual happens after that, that's what we consider, that's where we start the comedy or start the game of the scene. And still in the theme of agreement, we want to agree on the character of the space. So now we're looking particularly at the where, but this may also impact what is happening and who is doing what's happening. The first thing is location. So let's agree. Are we in the kitchen? Are we at the store? Are we in the bedroom? Then we agree on the activity. Are we in the kitchen baking cakes? Are we in the kitchen taking a nap? And then we have to agree on the environmental conditions. Are we in the kitchen taking a nap and it's hot? Are we in the kitchen taking a nap and it's too bright and that's why you can't get to sleep? But once we agree on this character of space, the location, the kitchen, the activity, taking a nap, and the condition, the environmental condition. Remember, we want to try to not block or reject or deny a person's piece of information while we're building the base reality. So if I give indication that our location is the kitchen, your character or the other scene partner shouldn't reject that and say, no, we're not in the kitchen, we're in the bedroom. Because now that means the first person either doesn't have a sense of their space, something's off or unusual already in this scene, and so we don't know what to believe in. We don't know where the contrast, and that's what funny usually is this contrast. Like, it's supposed to be this way, but this is happening. The activity, again, don't want to reject the other person's thing. You know, if other person is sweeping and you say, you're not sweeping, you're digging a hole, then the reality that you're creating, this real part of the fake world that you created, doesn't seem so real. Same thing with environmental condition. If you're shaking because it's cold and the other person is sweating, then somebody is not in the same real world that you built together. So let's try this exercise. Why don't you join me in the same environment? I'm going to give you 3 scenarios. I'm going to give you the location. I'm going to give you an activity. I'm going to give you an environmental condition. And I want you to do the things that you would do in the same location, activity, or environmental condition. So how'd you do? Now that you've been introduced to the various parts that help you build a base reality, we're going to try to put it all together so you can begin your scene. Now remember, the base reality of your scene is what's real in your made up world. Everything after you've established what's real can then start to get to your funny part. You'll just need one word or a phrase to get started. We call that a suggestion. If you don't have anybody to work with and you want to try to practice on your own, you could write down some words or phrases on little strips of paper and turn them upside down or put them in a little hat and pick out one and let that be your inspiration. We use that word or phrase, we use that suggestion to do what is called association. Give yourself a few seconds to see what spontaneously comes to mind when you think of that word or phrase. For example, if somebody from the audience gives me the suggestion, pineapple, for me, pineapple makes me think of SpongeBob. So that's what I've associated the suggestion with. Now that I have an idea that's associated with that suggestion, I'm ready to get started. Once you step into the scenes, once you step out, you are stepping into this space that you've created. So for me, I'm thinking about SpongeBob, so I am stepping in Bikini Bottom. Now that I'm stepping into Bikini Bottom, I'm going to do the things that I would do if I was in Bikini Bottom. I might move like this because I'm a mammal and I need oxygen, or I walk slower like people who walk on the bottom of water. But I'm using my knowledge of the location, the activity, and the conditions, the character of space, to influence what I'm doing. And that is helping the audience understand where I'm at and what I'm doing. Now, you can identify where you are, what you're doing, and who is in the scene, verbally or non-verbally. I may just be walking like this and saying, I'm on my way to get a Krabby Patty. Are you coming with me, Patrick? Immediately, you understand where I am without me saying that I'm in Bikini Bottom or under the sea. You understand what I'm doing because you now know that I'm going to get a Krabby Patty. And you at least know one other character in the scene, which is my friend Patrick. To close the loop, Patrick will identify me. Hey, SpongeBob. Hey, Squirrel Lady, because I don't remember the character. And now we know who is in the scene, what they're doing, and where they are. If you have been able to create a picture in someone else's mind of where your scene is taking place, what is happening, and who is participating, you created your base reality. You created the real parts of your imaginary world. Now you get to explore the relationship between the characters in the scene, and that's where your comedy comes into play.